I got to think a little bit before that because it was like second year stadiums open. Fred Bouchard calls me and asks if I'm interested in coaching, and I enter into football coaching. And I'll tell you what, my heart got changed so much because it made me recognize that when I was doing Young Life, I was just going to the kids who looked like me or had a similar story to me. And honestly, I probably grew up in a more multi-ethnic environment than the high school you went to. Like growing up in St. Joe, like always
Right.
had friends of color and played sports with them, and so that wasn't unusual for me. But being in proximity to kids who had different stories, man, it's everything started to change for me at
Yeah.
that time. And so really that's where you and I that, that's where there is. And let's be honest, we didn't start off on the best foot.
I don't think we did. I don't recall us. I don't think I liked you. I don't think so. I don't recall. This redheaded guy, big dude, trying to tell me. I recall.
Yeah, and well, okay, so give a little. No, let's start there. So let's start with some of the ways we saw each other because I thought it'd be really funny for us to go back to 14-year-old you
Yeah.
and 30-something-year-old me and just talk about the things that we may have assumed about each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm giving you the floor first. So
Even
like,
before,
and I don't want
honestly,
you just not just me. I guess in general,
yeah,
what you were experiencing because I think at that time the entire freshman staff were all white people.
everybody's white for sure.
Yeah.
It was everybody was white. It was just like I think I got there, and it was just like I saw white coaches before, so I wasn't unusual to white coaches.
Uh-huh.
I just think like as soon as I got to Staley, and I just felt like it was just like a be white. It was just like be this way, do it this way, act this way. And it's like I'm gonna coach you this way. You have to learn this way. I know. I think I have it easier than a lot of black kids do now because I was kind of somewhat already adjusted. And
Interesting.
so it wasn't like a huge monumental like oh my god this is like crazy for me. But at the same time it was like this is a little different for me. Yeah.
What is your when you think about being 14 in that environment again, right? Where like your mom moved you in a situation again, you're trying to make the right things to get to the right places for your own life. That white authority and that kind of attack and that kind of what do you think has to be in place for that to actually land somewhere?
Like for it to just to
For
actually
it to actually, yeah, for you to feel like, oh, they want the best for me versus they're trying to conform me.
I definitely felt that conform thing. Silly. But I
Yeah.
mean like I would say just truly just have those conversations. Just truly actually from a person standpoint, understand the environment, understand that, not everybody had the same situation as you. Not everybody has the same situations as the kids that you were used to. Like you're coaching kids who are from Staley Farms, but now you're possibly coaching kids who are from the inner city.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like you can't. It's a different role that you now need to take because it's not the same anymore.
I look back on that time and I can be like, I so blew it with Julian. Like I can look back on that. And what's funny is like all my unconscious biases were like the actual opposite of your real life. I remember being on you all the time about like, hey, this is the effort. And like, this is like the
Yeah.
way we should do things. And these are the right ways to do things. And now even listening back to my own language, I'm like, oh, wow, that's all unconscious bias language.
Yeah.
Like that's being like, hey, you need to behave like that kid over there who's in a totally different environment. So that's on me on that one. And also my feelings of thinking like, oh, this kid thinks he's better off. This kid thinks he's better than everyone. This kid has obviously gotten away with it his whole life. That's all false.
Yeah. No, it's
But
because
those are all my biases.
and it's just it's tough because it's like it's natural to think that like okay, you know what I mean, but it's just like try to look at it from somebody else's perspective. Like why is he like that? what can I do to help him? What can I do to not make him conform, but how can I enhance in a way, And so it's tough, but I mean, I think it's more of the effort from someone else than especially from like a younger 14, 15, 16-year-old. I would much rather see the effort than the actual change. You know what I mean? So I'd rather see that you're actually trying to understand me, you're trying to, help me out. I came here for an opportunity and you're actually trying to get me to that opportunity. I'd rather see that. I'd rather see you pull me in to, hey, possibly talk to this coach. Let's see
Yeah.
how your grades doing, but and still like, don't just say, oh, you have to have good grades to go to college. Let them understand why it's important to have those good grades so you can go to college because you're looked at differently. Your grades are still just as important. This is your athletic ability because that's going to take you even further.